Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the WCW Saturday Night Review series for the 30th of May, 2000. Sure, I wish. 1992, and continuing a fun series for me. I haven't seen some of these. I haven't seen before. They have a guy who is a music dude. Here at the onset, we also see a Great Muda promo, which they kind of had done earlier last week, and I missed it, but it was only a 30-second promo. Great Muda and Brad Armstrong are going to do battle here today on a WCW Saturday Night. Brad Armstrong really excited about this. The music guy claimed to be a wrestling fan. I'm not getting into who he is as far as identity because I don't know who he is, for one, and honestly, it doesn't add to the benefit of the show. Sad to me that after 1985 with WrestleMania 1, promotions would have celebrities just because. Like, I don't. For me, a celebrity has to figure into things. The Mike Tyson thing makes sense. Maybe something like. I'm even trying to. Mike Tyson makes sense. Maybe having a pop up with like the Jay Leno thing made sense because it got them publicity, but for the most part, celebrities for celebrity's sake to me is an insult to the workers, at least from my perspective, from a business perspective. Greg Valentine and Larry Santo, who has been, at least at this point, a pretty regular enhancement talent at the time. Valentine coming off his WCW run or WWF run of several years, like 84 to 91. Doesn't do a heck of a lot here, but does enough. Punch kick, real basic stuff. He'd been tagging with Terry Taylor for a while, but they're trying to get him into some single stuff. I think he's gone by the end of the year here. He cinches up on an arm bar and is pretty assertive, aggressive throughout. Ultimately, he locks in the figure four, which of course he is known for, and gets a victory that way. It's just about maybe 5 minutes, a little less than that. And so then we move on to another enhancement talent match. This time Johnny Rich against Cactus Jack. Cactus Jack weeks away, about a little less, probably about 3 weeks away from his WCW Beach Blast, the best match I think of his career. And I know there's people that love, and I love Cactus, don't get me wrong. I love the Cactus Jack run from, 88 when he was in World Class through about 96, 97. He has 98 stuff and the Hell in a Cell, and that killed Cactus for me. Just in the sense of I think he got to a point where he was more stunt guy than a guy who had character development, and that always made me kind of sad. But in any event, here, his WCW stuff is some of my favorite Cactus Jack stuff. He's just insane. Basic punches, and he, hits the ropes, and he's off. Cactus at this point is stocky, but still mobile. Of course, his first WCW run in 90 for a few months. Comes back. I think he gave this Johnny Rich a little bit too much in the match, knowing that he's going into a championship match. But at the same time, I think they were encouraging him to keep, or encouraging guys to keep things pretty competitive. Cactus sends him to the outside, and then, of course, goes to the outside, does the continuation brawling. This is around the time in 92 when the Bang Bang thing really gets over pretty big. Cactus brings him back in, does the punch kick stuff, and for the most part is pretty in control for the next couple of minutes. The idea that he could, in fact, beat Sting, probably at least thought about. Takes a drop kick, doesn't leave his feet, though, in the next little while. And again, this match going 5 or 6 minutes is surprising to me. If you have a world championship contender, kind of there. Cross rope, crack smash there with almost a bulldog, and then a DDT. 1, 2, 3, and away we go with a Cactus Jack win. We then move to interview segment time. Again, the WCW Saturday Night setting at this point kind of a little, I kabuki-ish in the sense I don't necessarily know that having in-person interviews at the level they do is really what you want to do. There is a promo here where Arn Anderson talks about wanting to set out for himself, talks about wanting to defeat Sting and wrestle Sting, be in the world title picture, world title hunt. Anderson, as always, really well spoken. Marcus Alexander Bagwell, who I think by this point had been around for maybe 6, 8 months. And of course, he'd done the handsome stranger thing in the GWF, comes in here. Bagwell at this point, I actually enjoy early Bagwell. It's funny, so much of wrestling for me is I enjoy early, and then they push them, and then they botch it, and then I lose interest. Like for me, the NWO Bagwell, the Buff Bagwell stuff, I had lost all interest in him by that point. But I enjoyed his work as a babyface, and to me, the Marcus Alexander Bagwell white meat babyface made sense. Speaking of making sense, Medusa, and I gotta grab my phone, so we'll be back in 2 shakes of a lamb's tail. And again, Anderson in this role is an interesting choice because, I mean, he's been with the Crockett Promotions area since about 1985. Crockett, of course, becoming WCW. Anderson being able to carry guys through matches is super valuable and important. Um, Back to the Bagwell thing in hand, it's interesting because Bagwell and Anderson, kind of an interesting dichotomy. Anderson, a guy who's been with the company primarily as a heel, I think almost always a heel throughout his career until obviously he gets to the retirement age and he's kind of the agent and whatever. But a guy like Bagwell can be brought to another level by Anderson. Anderson can walk him through, make him look good. The walking, talking, the getting more out of. As I grab my phone again. And again, he breaks the match down into simplest form. He's walking, talking. He's getting Bagwell through difficult uh, situations. Breaks down an armbar, takes the guy down, works the hammerlock, works every bit of the match he can. Medusa on the outside is interesting because Heyman is not there, or at the time known as Paulie Dangerously, not there. And that's interesting only because kind of showing chinks in the armor to a degree of the Dangerous Alliance, and big body slam there. Ultimately drops the knee right across the bridge of the nose. Anderson continues to break the match down in simplest form and eventually gets a victory, which going into the Omni with Sting in the upcoming weeks and months, and of course he gets the victory with the Spinebuster. Big thing. Then we go to the Beach Blast Control Center, hyping the upcoming match with Sting and Cactus Jack. They kind of show a bit of the Van Hammer thing, which is basically the way they've been really pushing Cactus Jack, is the Van Hammer Clash of the Champions deal. Sting saying he's never been in a match like this before. They're doing Falls Count Anywhere up and down the up and down the coast. That's announced literally a little less than a month before the match takes place, which is good. I mean, Sting at this point needed a good heel to feed off of, and Cactus is able to play that role for him. Then we move to another bit of breakdown. There is a breakdown in the Dangerous Alliance that they seem to highlight here. They're highlighting also the issues in the 6-man tag team match from the previous week, where Larry Zbyszko pretty well is, I wouldn't say necessarily drummed out of the Dangerous Alliance, but the miscommunication leads to the loss for the Dangerous Alliance. Dangerous Alliance has not been doing as well, and so now you've got Larry Zbyszko facing off against Steve Austin. Heyman talking about Zbyszko not being a guy who is doing as well for the Dangerous Alliance as is to be expected. Match breaks down, and Austin and Zbyszko do battle. Austin still looks good even here. Lots of basics, punch, punch, kick, kick, and around we go. Goes into a brawl on the outside. Austin is obviously being prepared for big things, although we don't know what. But, I mean, he is protected really, really well. Obviously, Heyman would come out years later and say he saw something in Austin even at this point. Who knows how true that is, but the fact of the matter is they kind of go into a sleeper hold and some really basic stuff here. The issues in the Dangerous Alliance notwithstanding, they work the sleeper hold for several more minutes. Swinging neckbreaker by Zbyszko, who tries to get a quick fall and goes at things again in the simplest way possible. Zbyszko kind of looking like a babyface, although the turn is not complete, but certainly getting kind of that reaction. In any event, continuation of a brawl. Austin takes the match back down to the canvas a little bit and kind of, tries to bring it out. Austin ping-ponging balls around for the next couple of minutes. Zbyszko using a very basic offense, kind of brawling, but the pacing of the match is predominantly Austin on top of the offense for the majority of time. Zbyszko always mounting a comeback, whether it be with something like a crossbody or some more striking, going back to holds along the way as well, arm bars and the like, and eventually the match kind of breaks down into more brawling style. Austin getting the better early stages of that. Referee does get interference from Heyman, almost a flapjack style pile driver, and Bobby Eaton finally interferes, hitting the top rope knee drop. And then there is the ending of that match there. Then we go to the NWA update for the championship match. Brian Pillman still, at this point, holding on to the World's WCW Light Heavyweight Championship. That they do a lot with the board there. Pillman going to team with Jushin Thunder Liger. Pillman says that's a great honor, with Liger being such a big deal across the pond in Japan. Also, the Malenkos, Dean and Joe Malenko, second generation superstars. I think they're regarded from Austria or somewhere in Europe anyway. And they are being brought in for that tournament as well. We go back to, they're hyping Beach Blast as well as hyping the upcoming NWA Tag Tournament that will be held over the sake of the Clash, as well as, but not limited to, the Great American Bash in July. Building that out over several minutes, months, whatever. Brad Armstrong and the Great Muta have a phenomenal match. They've got about 25 minutes left in the program. I don't know that they go the whole time, but a lot of basic stuff. Feeling out process is pretty consistent throughout. Muta obviously using speed, working over Armstrong's arm. One of the better light heavyweight matches at the time, because it's not crazy, but you do see a lot of athleticism. Muta moves with such precision, you can't help but know that he's better. He hits a back handspring elbow that just about everyone hits these days. Stolen from him, and then the mule kick type thing. Lays on the guy with the side headlock takeover. Makes Armstrong carry him for several minutes there. Head scissors as well. Cranks on that for several minutes. Armstrong, though, comes up and comes out of that into a leg grapevine. Then they wrestle around with an abdominal stretch for a couple of minutes. Lots of good submission style wrestling from guys that most people would say are just high flyers. Proof that in 1992, high flyers knew how to pace their flying, so it made sense. Short arm scissors worked over for the next couple of minutes by Muta. Muta using the ring positioning quite well for several minutes, including but not limited to a figure four among other submission style holds. Muta primarily actually made to look like a submission wrestler for the majority of the match. Includes a head scissors, leg figure four, head figure four, grapevine type stuff. Finally, Armstrong comes back to his feet. Martial arts by Muta, punches, kicks, and the like. Muta does not do well unless he's on the... Well, I mean, when he's on the mat, he does extra well. So, I mean, go behind three-quarter Nelson roll by Muta. Finally, Armstrong, after about 6 or 7 minutes on defense, comes back to offense. His offense, though, looks, I don't want to say amateur in comparison, but very basic in comparison, as he kind of goes with headlocks. Muta comes back with hammerlocks and arches up into really basic stuff. They battle over the headlock for several minutes. Muta finds himself up in a chinlock / sleeper hold. Muta then comes back to vertical base with strikes over the next several minutes, snaps his man over, and hits the corkscrew leg drop and such that he is known for. Attempted pinfall by Muta, and Armstrong comes out the back door. Armstrong then is not willing to surrender, and with about 6 minutes left in the program, gets a near fall on a inside cradle / small package. They go right up to what amounts to the end of the program. Leaping knee that we'd almost see in an MMA style by Armstrong. Armstrong continues to stand, doing a little bit more brawling, which gives him the advantage. I think that's one area he has an advantage over Muta. Muta drags him back into the ring, though, and hits a kick, almost curve stomp style maneuver, hook kick to the back of the head, and Armstrong then goes out to the outside of the ring. Three-quarter octopus hold, almost seated abdominal stretch by Muta, and Armstrong manages to roll through with that. Armstrong takes him to the top turnbuckle, trying to get any advantage he can get. Match is phenomenal by this point. Handspring elbow once again. Muta comes back, hits the moonsault, and gets the victory in the end. 1, 2, 3, and that will close us for today. We'll be back with WrestleMania 37 Night 2, and maybe, depending on my schedule, more of the WCW Saturday Night Series. But until next time, keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment. Until next time, everybody.